Hey, welcome back to the Secret Underground Lair. Today I'm prepping a blank to be used for the top of the ArchTop guitar. That's our next project. I have some basswood here, just some scraps that I salvaged off a skid made out of exotic wood a little while ago. So I don't intend to use this for the guitar itself, but this is going to be my test blank used to make sure the CNC and the GCode is all correct. So when I'm happy that this carves out nicely, then we'll move on to the proper wood that we're going to use for the guitar itself. So this is going to be a test blank basswood, and I'm going to trim this guy up. You can see I've got a piece of angle iron here, a little leftover bit of Bedrail to cater for this bow in this. So this will give me a nice straight edge. We're going to rip these guys in half this way, then glue them together to give us the blank that we want for the guitar top. So I'll set up and we'll do some cutting here. That is today's adventure. So out of these pieces that I've now cut, I want to get them oriented so I can get a good clean edge for glue up, which means I'm looking for an A side and a B side for the joins here. And we'll clamp these 5 pieces together and the guitar will come out of that. Actually, the guitar top is only going to be about the length of this, a little bit less than the length of these side pieces. So we'll wind up cutting that off. But by having these 2 pieces, the same piece of wood, I've got some symmetry on each side. I've got symmetry between these 2 pieces, and this is the unique piece through the middle. So again, it's just a blank, a test piece, but I might as well try and practice some alignment while I'm here, right? So let me get these marked, and then we'll start running them through the saw again to get a good clean edge. Using my little Bedrail technique that I use to split them all, get a nice clean straight line. Alright, all our pieces are now cut, good edges on both sides. Ready to glue them up. I've got A and B's matching. I'm going to flip these over so that I get this flat side on my flat surface. right now they're of varying thicknesses. They weren't cut exactly perfect, but that's okay. We're going to be taking a lot of this off on the CNC. Here's our ArchTop blank, our test blank, glued up now. Going to give this a couple hours to dry. We're going to put this on the CNC, and the first operation will be to level off this one side, fairly high height. Then we're going to flip it over now that we have our spoil board perfectly in line with the CNC. So get this side leveled out, flip it over and level out the other side, and then we're ready to start applying the G-code to give us a curve on the one side. First we'll let this glue dry. I'll come back when we're ready to get onto the CNC. All right, our blank has been cut. I've screwed it onto our spoiler board. Sunk these screws in very deep, so I'm not going to run into any complication of biting them. And I'm going to take go over the whole piece. We're kind of spiraling into the center of this piece rather than the straight back and forth cut. I'm doing a little bit different this time. It's a climb cut all the way around. And yeah, I'm just going to take a very light pass off this one. So I'll probably only be touching a couple bits in the surface here. Then I'm going to go deeper. So I just want to test all this. Make sure it's all working right. I'll put you on time lapse through this so you don't get bored with the whole thing. And starting with homing the axes, so we'll do that first. So sit back, relax, enjoy the music. Well, just at the tail end there, you may have noticed the rotor was behaving a little strangely. It just died on me. I have literally about 8 millimeters left here, and 8 by 150. So nearly went through the whole top, but then died right here. The rotor just died. So I'm going to find out what's wrong with the rotor. It is a very old machine. It may have, I may finally ask too much of it. So let me take apart the rotor, find out what's going on, and I'll come back when I've got something. Now here's something you don't see every day. So that cap is supposed to be in there, like this one is. However, I found it. Just sitting in there. It had vibrated itself off. I have never had that happen before. So let's put that back on and just see if that makes a difference. Maybe we'll get the rotor back. I think while I'm at it, I'm probably going to change out this bit. This is the bit that I ran over a screw with. So we'll swap out that bit and just finish up this cut. Okay, the rotor's back operational. Replace the bit. In fact, I put in a 1/2-inch shank instead of the 1/4-inch shank. This is a little stiffer bit because they're going to make a couple more passes here. So I just trimmed up the G-code a little bit just to do this last little bit here, and then we'll be on to the next pass. So back on time lapse, we'll finish this cut. that's another pass made with the new sharp bit. The bit that I ran over the screw with was one of my $7 router bits, my little bargain store. And this bit that I'm using now is also a $7 bit, but I'm making 5mm passes, and what's come out of this really nice and smooth. I'm very impressed. A little bit of roughage on this wood, but that's just the wood itself. So I need to go down. This is probably this corner and maybe this corner are my worst corners. It's probably another 2mm that I need to drop. So I'll make that one more pass, and then we can flip it over and clean up the other side. But I'll do that off camera until we're ready to actually start carving out the ArchTop guitar itself. We're making progress here. All right, the blank has now been cut. I got it nice and level. It's the thickness that I want it to be. I may be off by 0.5 millimeter or 1 millimeter, but I'm okay for this blank. This side is going to be the concave side, so this will represent the inside of the guitar surface. Then it needs to be flipped over, and I can do the convex side, or the outside of the guitar top. What I need to do before doing that, though, is put in 2 locating pins. So I'm going to put a 1/4-inch bit in the router and put a bit in, drill a hole through there, drill a hole through the other end. This is precisely on the midline of the guitar. And then that will allow me then to flip the whole face this way when I want to cut out the convex, and I know that I have it positioned exactly right. This is the mistake I ran into on the last guitar top that I did, so I'm, once bitten, twice shy. So I'm just kind of setting up for that. You can see roughly the outline of where the guitar is going to be, just kind of sketched it in by pencil. So yeah, that'll be, going to call that a video for today. And that was just kind of the flat portion of the CNC router. So our next video will be drilling these holes and then starting out the sculpting. That's going to be a fairly long process because I'm just going to go literally 1 millimeter at a time, and I'll explain a little bit of the math, but I have calculated every square millimeter of the guitar surface and have some G-code that'll cut that out. So I'll go through all that in detail in the next video. Anyway, for now, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I will see you on the next video.